This is a free podcast from the BBC. For more information, you can go to our website, bbc.co.uk/radio 2.
Oh, for heaven's sake. In stylistics. Bet you by golly wow. I'm listening to Wednesday's show. It's Sunday here in Sydney, and it's raining. Well, the sun is splitting the paving stones here in Britain. I woke up this morning and saw the bright lights and thought, it must be spring. Actually, I woke up this morning and it was as black as a hat, and I thought it must be December. I can't believe that weekend that we've just enjoyed in August. Anyway, Sunday here in Sydney, it's raining, I must get a life, says Maureen. Stop giving the plot away for EastEnders. We're years behind here, even if it's on for 1 hour, 5 nights a week. What? EastEnders? On for 5 nights a week for 1 hour? Can you tell me who won MasterChef in 2005? I watched the 3-hour marathon today. We aren't up to the semi-finals yet. Must dash now. Might be time for dealing with Dickinson. Good to see the Brits are getting their own back for us, sending you home and away and neighbours. Yeah. It's terrible to be that far behind the times, isn't it? There's all sorts of colonial outposts. New Zealand here. Sherry Stevens says, Sunday morning, I'm listening to Friday's show and the listen again. Honestly, radio in New Zealand and Australia must be truly appalling. Well, this Wednesday, I bore the Great Silver Bird for my pilgrimage to Suffolk and Dorset. Okay, so she's back. And she should be in Ipswich by Friday. Good luck to you, Cherry, mother and grandmother. And I've been away myself for a few days, says Maureen Morris. Where? The land of the long white cough? No, just away on Thursday and Friday. Hope you received the bread pudding I sent you. Yes, we did. We had it destroyed. Sorry, put down. It seemed to have a life of its own, you understand. That's a great record. Van Morrison and Brown Eyed Girl. And it's exactly 9 minutes past 8. I'm delighted to have your company of a morn, and I'm sure you had a splendid weekend despite the weather. Talking of the weather, let's spare a thought. We have listeners from all over the world, obviously, and if we were measuring them like the BBC World Service, we'd say we had 200 million listeners, because there's absolutely no way of measuring how many you have. But it's a little bit of hippobole never did anybody any harm. But meanwhile, in Jamaica and Cayman Islands and in that area, there's an awful lot of terror as Hurricane Dean arrives. And Laura Tonner says it's wonderful to have the internet option to listen to a cheerful voice during this difficult time. She's in the Cayman Islands. So a song for all the gang sitting it out in Morantz, Georgetown and Grand Cayman. Well, a good morning to you. I don't know what time of the day or night it is out there, but there's a big wind. Batten the hatches. Good morning, good looking, you see, Lollipop. Your weather lackey. Yes, that's as good a way to describe old Nove. A lackey. And live here in the west of Wales. And you can go and tell me that there'll be showers today. How dare you tell anybody in the west of Wales there's showers today? I've just swum to me dustbin to put the rubbish out. The fish pond is now covering all the lawn. Yeah, I know. It's been, as they say in the west of Ireland, it's been soft. Did you hear the captain, talking of Wales, Gareth Thomas's teammate, speaking to the interviewer on Saturday? He said, and of course, Gareth Thomas now holds the world record for the number of Welsh caps. And he does. And a great man he is, too. I'm reading in my Sunday paper, so it must be true. People, since we had brown-eyed girl, people with blue eyes are higher academic achievers than those with the darker type. So that puts you in your place, dumbo. And mine are light. They're light pink. This is, of course, marvellous news, and both myself and the bodyguard, Orla, feel thoroughly vindicated. Both of us possessing blue eyes. It's official. 2 of us as geniuses, along with Frank Sinatra, Paul Newman, the Marquis de Sade, Barbie, Phyllis Diller, Ashley from Coronation Street, and Ben Turpin. I get mine from my old granny on my mother's side, who used to keep her certificate of excellence on the mantelpiece. Well, it wasn't so much a certificate of excellence as her release papers from the loony bin. Still, as she used to snort loudly, "Here, I'm not daft. I have a certificate proving it. That's more than you lot have." let's all go off and do our brain exercises. The most beautiful girl in the world. That's Prince, formerly known as Prince, and now indeed known as Prince. It's 14 minutes to 9, and Richard Jones writes from Australia in defence of Australian cheese. It's beautiful, eh? Well, they got all sorts. Bries, camemberts, cheddars, gouders, washed rind, fetters, goats, edams. Tassie's got a special cheese, Tas Camembert, you see. And great, well, Richard, thank you for standing up for Australia and its fine foods. I'd like to tell you about the poke of sweeties. Scottish sweetie mouth. Barrowlands Boyd's got Scottish sweetie mouth. I bought recently from a shop in Troon. Troon, isn't it a great sounding place? It's a cafe selling coffees, teas, hot snacks, and most of all, sweeties. And the name of the place is Togg's Cafe Troon. It couldn't be called a better thing. I'm pleased with your performance. Pardon? After winning first prize at the Whitthorne Flower Show. Some of the Togs were not impressed. I'm only 10. Can I be an honorary Tig and have a car sticker? You're too young for a Tig. Oliver Grimes, who won the competition with a sweet pea called Terry Wogan. That's extraordinary because the pleasant Mrs. Wogan can't grow home at all. I listened to your show on Friday, on Saturday, and again on Sunday. Really? The podcast? Oh, how are you listening? Anyway, that makes it 2,000,000,002 listeners. Oh, it's a listener in New Zealand. My husband and I... Well, any chance you could send us a few quid by way of a licence fee? My husband and I visited my mum and dad on Sunday. They'd been watching a film starring Robert De Niro the night before. My mother said, I'll tell you who's a really good actor. He can be a bit vicious. Joe Pasquale. There was a stunned silence. Joe Pesci, really. Nicholas Crane gets a lot of your attention. He's the chap who wanders about a bit with an umbrella in his bag that was originally carved by an Aztec, and so he can't take it out. It'll fall to bits. And to be put off, he's too intrepid an explorer to be put off by a bit of rain. People are saying he was out in the driving rain last night, and he never raised his umbrella once. He only used it to actually find out how deep the River Wye was while on board his canoe. Television, it's come a long way, hasn't it? 83 centimetres, he said. Oh, are you listening to this? We're quivering here. It's somebody with a steam hammer outside the window. I know. It's your BBC. You do something about it. How else could such a useful piece of information, 83 centimetres in the River Wye, be conveyed to us from a canoe afloat in midstream? And having got his umbrella thoroughly wet once, of course, he wasn't able to risk getting it soaked again in the same episode. The BBC's not made of money, you know, says Richard Carter, near Bury St Edmunds. Not to praise him, but it's awfully dark, rainy and far too windy to hoist umbrellas. Well, that's a justification for Nicholas Crane. He didn't want to get the umbrella wet. Can you hear that? Yes, they're knocking down Broadcasting House and replacing it with a better version. While shopping in Summerfield, blimey, we've named the place, and the young cashier speedily and efficiently dealing with my provisions. There you are, Jim. She came to the vegetables. 5 a day. The cabbage hastily dispatched the end of the till. Then the carrots, the parsnips placed on the scales, and a pause. She looked at me. I looked at her. She looked around. Problem with the scales, I thought. And the supervisor approached, looked at the scales and tapped something into the keyboard. Sigh of relief from the cashier. Sorry, till assistant. Her explanation? Oh, thanks. I got confused with courgettes. Is it me? Well, not everybody knows the difference between a parsnip and a courgette. You're asking too much. And one of those moaning old geezers from TV's Grumpy Old Men, Arthur Smith, is back in Edinburgh. He's taking part in the festival, as so many are. And bravely, he's putting on a free exhibition of avant-garde works of art created by himself and other comedians, including Joe Brand and Harry Hill. But he's made the cardinal error of including a work which casts aspersions on Pudsey Bear. Arthur, you're in trouble. Retribution could be at hand. He's advertising his traditional Tour of the Royal Mile, which kicks off in the very early hours of this coming Sunday morning. Sally Ford says, wouldn't it be awful if his group consisted entirely of irate togs demanding an apology? Hey, born-again Christensen of Hull. Good morning, Björn. Sometimes, just sometimes, I listen to the news and feel like packing it in. Welcome to the club. And why do I say this? Well, it's so nice to know the public money is being spent on spotty Herberts, telling us how fast a Tyrannosaurus Rex can run. I mean, who cares? Well, exactly. Why is... Oh, never mind. Why aren't they doing something useful? Well, I suppose you could say the same thing to the rest of us here, couldn't you? I mean, so Tyrannosaurus was a bit slow, but to be honest, I wouldn't fancy stopping him in mid-flow, looking him in the face and say, "Oi, Rex, your technique's all wrong, mate. Swing the arms a bit more. You get another tenth of a second out of a lap." I can't wait until they release the study that declares all newsreaders with the name Nove should be taken out and made to take part in "I'm a celebrity, I can't believe it's not bar," where they can warn the general public that eating worms can give you wind. Look, I just want to say in defence of Charles Nove that... Why should I be defending Charles Nove? You're absolutely right. I feel the need to report that after a rather long wait, BBC 4, we've got a BBC 4 viewer here. A good and interesting programme last, The Secret Life of the Motorway. Oh, lots of period film and shots from the 50s and 60s. And new and virtually empty roads like sets from Thunderbirds. And then Chumley Warner, the commentary and clipped English terms. "The new open roads will be the answer to everything." Where did it all go wrong, says Lukewarm. We're always ready for a boogie here. Boogieing Radio 2. Watching the old Barrowlands trip a measure there with Lynn Bowles. I think they were doing the Dashing White Sergeant. If councils make charges for rubbish collection, yes, which is what we hear, people will dump bin bags in the countryside. But they do that already. Yeah, an idiot's idea. Too true, Peter, too true. Oi, Wogan, yes, geraint. Recently, while having a clear out, I found a box of Christmas lights we'd bought a few years ago, with a warning on it, "For indoor and outdoor use only," as opposed to... where? And Bates Boy says, "As I was driving into work, I switched over to Mr. Naughty, to hear the renowned scientist Sienna Miller talking about global warming." Oh, for heaven's sake. Please. And now, Kelvin. I do hope the foundations of this building are all right. That's all I can say, because there's a quivering going on here that's a bit terrifying. Anyway, Kelvin Curry of Freshwater, being an erudite and well-educated man, oh, please, now, as well as enjoying the old food, oh, don't be talking now. Trencherman, you know what the word gourmet means. Well, in America, it's gourmet, but gourmet, yes. I believe it means a person with sensitive and discriminating palate, like what we are, says Kelvin. Although it's often used as an adjective for meals of high quality. Yes, indeed. So why then, when I was on a train recently, was I charged in excess of 10 quid for a cup of lukewarm coffee, a soggy tuna and sweet corn sandwich, and a slice of fruitcake, which tasted like polystyrene? Why did the receipt bear the name of the company Rail Gourmet? Here I am with the old residents, says Watt, and I've been working on the computer since 6:30 a.m. I'm on a break now, despite the fact that I live in a quiet suburb, only having Radio 2 on quietly, being within 10 feet of my front door, the study door open, and my study light being visible from the entrance to the drive. I've just gone downstairs my break to make me coffee to find a note sticking out of the letterbox saying that the post office had tried to deliver a parcel and I wasn't in. I was in! I checked the doorbell, still working. I can only assume that they went round the other side of the crescent, rolled quietly down our side, slipped quietly out of the van, crept up the door, slid the note silently into the letterbox, crept away and rolled silently to the bottom of the road before closing the door, starting the engine and driving off, laughing at the fact that now I have to go to the depot to collect the parcel. Gustav, oi! Oi? Wie geht es Ihnen? Now we know why your command of the German language is so excellent. Oh... An Irish tenor singing the German national anthem, yes, and then God Save the Queen. The only surprising thing to me was that he didn't burst into the fields of Athenry. And Stuart of Kirkcaldy, what a great night for the football teams of the UK and the Republic of Ireland. Look, come on, Stuart. Congratulations to Boydie. Hey, Boydie, well done. He went all the way up to Pitaudry, scored the goal against world superstars South Africa, and came back south to keep you right today. What a man. He is indeed. He's not looking even slightly drained. Like many misguided viewers, says Jamie Donut, I fell into the trap of watching the England game last night. Moi aussi. I could have been eating and drinking. Well, I was, as well. I can't help wondering why we didn't win. Well, what I really want to know is, what do the players do with the children that they're presented with before the game? Give them a good home, I hope. And Crookie, of course, has always got the appropriate versification. For Scotland and Wales, what footy joys. Likewise Northern Ireland and the Dublin boys. A fantastic night of soccer glory, but for Wembley's woosies, a different story. Woosies? Didn't he play golf? While it was celebratory binge on the Celtic fringe, for those three lions it was all whinge and cringe. If they hated being under the Teutonic cosh instead of Becks, they should have played posh. Right, it's 22 minutes past 8. There's a lot of stuff here, and there's a lot of stuff on the other side of the table here from me.
What?
Oi, Wilf, says Russell Sprout. Me and the current Mrs. Sprout were at an auction last night when lot 154 came up, a set of baby bulls. Ooh. Is there something our taffy temptress is not telling us?
Oh, you've got to make the money where you can.
Old Charlie's bus has brought that frightful child song back to haunt me. You see, I was an advanced child. I didn't sing stuff like this. The wheels on the bus. Anybody know the tune? The wheels on the bus.
Oh, round and round.
The nove on the bus is stout and round, not too sound, flesh in mounds. He's going to town to lose 12 pounds. I'm going to sing that all day, says Ralphie. So will I if I ever get the tune.
I know a song that'll get on your nerves. Get on your nerves. Yes.
Yeah. Dear Chuck, this is from Neil, who's the National Radio Announcers Union shop steward.
Oh dear.
And I'm high time. I'm in receipt of your letter regarding your complaint that the taffy traffic slapper is usurping your position as second in command of the morning breakfast show, Wake Up with Wogan and Nove.
What? I don't remember wording it quite like that, but now that you mention it, yeah.
After listening to this week's broadcast, I think we have a strong case to take your complaint further. Oh, well done, Neil. And I would suggest, brothers, as backup evidence, that you make notes of all instances, both on and off the air, of where this feisty Welsh temptress has ridiculed and demeaned you.
I'm writing it all down.
It's all true, though.
To this end, I'm enclosing a couple of reams of A4. With this evidence, I'm convinced we shall obtain a grovelling apology from both Land Rover Lil and also Terry Wogan for allowing it. Oh, Chuck, it's you, Chuck Nove.
Chuck,
Yes, that's me. Yeah.
He's in charge.
It's all going in the book, I'm writing it all down. So I'm making careful notes.
Thank you, brother.
The committee will take a dim view.
Would you not do what Michael Parkinson does and gently resign so that you can write your autobiography?
Never!
After hearing you mention the voiceover artist on Kitchen Criminals and his inability to say the word cook, or cookery, I tuned in to hear him in action for myself. I must say I'm at a loss to see what you mean. His diction seems perfect to me. Anyway, I've got to dash and find that Peter Pan. It's Captain Hook. Yeah. I realise that ramblings about the cold collations, please, ham, are so last week, but my recent disturbing and utterly true experience deserves review. It's from Wally. Strolling the quadrangles of a renowned Oxford college, this is a true story, I chanced upon a collection of cagoule-clad boffins, furiously masticating over a collection of large boards discussing quantum physics. I was standing like a numpty, feigning knowledge and interest. A super IQ buffoon strolled over, and there began a bizarre buffoon's exchange. The oaf, jovial. What city are you from? Me, baffled. Glasgow. Oaf, pointing to the board, which used words the length of a small child. It is remarkable the way Dr. Paulson has used nuclear fusion to match the binary atom of transparent aluminum with the particle engine. Me. Yes, amazing. In fact, I was just talking to Dr. Hugo Jackman of Birmingham, Alabama, and he equated it with the difference between thick and wafer-thin ham. At which point, the brilliant imbecile said, "My goodness! What a brilliant explanation! Where is the fellow?" At this, helpfully, I went to find him, says Wally. If you'd like to remind everyone, Hells and Chewed They can buy Janet and John CDs from www.togscalendar.org. Yes, indeed. And it's all for children in need. They get wonderful cartoon cards donated by the country's top cartoonists. Yeah, and they are marvellous. Wonderful. All the top cartoonists. And there's Terry Wogan egg cups, Chris Evans egg cups, Ken Bruce egg cups, Steve Wright egg cups. Just think of the satisfaction you can get by bashing an egg in a Steve Wright, Ken Bruce, Chris Evans or Terry Wogan egg cup. And Pudsey Bears and mugs and polo shirts. All there to purchase and all the profit. All the profit. Every penny of it goes straight to BBC Children in Need. And I've just had this. It's a BBC announcement. BBC admits Pudsey faked eye injury. In the latest of a series of scandals rocking the BBC, Director General Mark Thompson today admitted that Pudsey Bear, iconic figurehead of the Children in Need appeal, had no eye problems whatsoever. His apparent injury was faked in an attempt to win sympathy and extract more money from the big-hearted general British public. Things that took me years to learn, and you may have come across this before, but Kathleen and Ron, they're the Pethers. People who want to share their religious views with you almost never want you to share yours with them. Never lick a steak knife. Steak knife? Never lick a steak knife. The most destructive force in the universe is gossip. You will never find anybody who can give you a clear and compelling reason why we observe daylight saving time. You should never say anything to a woman that even remotely suggests that you think she's pregnant, unless you can see an actual baby emerging at that very moment. There comes a time when you should stop expecting other people to make a big deal about your birthday. That time is age 11. I don't believe it. Bjorn again Christensen of Hull. I've heard of scraping a barrel and desperately trying to find a decent goalkeeper for England, but I read on CFAX the FA is exploring whether Peter Schmeichel's son, Casper, has got any English credentials. Apparently, he may qualify in the same way that Jackie Charlton qualified to be the Irish manager. Jack once owned an Irish setter. And now they find that Casper once ran over an old English sheepdog. He's got every chance then. I'm off now to see if I can be a German supporter, as my granddad once ate a bratwurst. Supernova, our manly newsreader, tells us it's becoming virtually impossible to fail GCSE exams, as the pass rate is set to be 99% this year. So I have an idea. Why not let candidates bring in textbooks to the examination hall and thus ensure 100% success? In that way, teachers will look really good and I might get a few more bob for me trouble. It's from Mr. Quelch. Yaroo! Just recovering this morning from last night's debacle at Wembley. At first, Golden Brown appeared to be applauding something for about 10 minutes, while Angelbracket, you mean Angela Merkel, had stopped, and then stood looking rather awkward. Who, Angela or Golden?
This was a podcast from BBC Radio 2. Don't forget you can also download free podcasts for Steve Wright, Russell Brand and Chris Evans. Get more information now at bbc.co.uk/Radio 2 and wake up to Wogan every weekday morning from 7:30, online, on digital and on 88 to 91 FM.
Wake up to